Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the complex and honestly kind of frustrating biology of fat storage. If you've ever felt like your body is just actively fighting against your weight loss efforts, well, guess what? You are not crazy. Seriously. Today, we're taking some groundbreaking insights from top metabolic scientists to completely flip how you think about your body. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this counterintuitive question. Why on earth does eating less and running more sometimes make you fatter? It's so frustrating, right? We put in the hard work but see literally zero results on the scale. You cut the carbs, you track every single calorie like a hawk, you spend hours sweating it out on the treadmill, but that stubborn layer of midsection fat, it doesn't budge an inch. Logic tells us the weight should be falling off. But you know, biology plays by a completely different set of rules. You're not fighting a lack of discipline here. You're actually fighting a hidden survival mechanism.
To fix this whole mess, we need a roadmap. So in this explainer, we're going to systematically dismantle some major health myths and unveil the real biological protocols across 6 chapters. 1. The calorie counting myth. 2. Insulin and the economy. 3. Cortisol and visceral fat. 4. The mitochondrial connection. 5. Unlocking the muscle backdoor. And 6. Hacks for sleep and stress. All right, let's kick things off with Chapter 1, the calorie counting myth, and why calories in, calories out is a totally broken paradigm. We've been told for, over 60 years now to just count our calories. But by doing that, we are completely ignoring the body's biological master switch. Just think about this quote from the scientific literature for a second. You aren't what you eat, you burn what you eat. Wow, right? It shifts our entire perspective. We absolutely have to understand that if your weight loss strategy is based on nothing but starvation and being hungry all the time, you are biologically guaranteed to lose. Your brain senses that massive energy deficit, hits the panic button, and your metabolism actually slows down to preserve energy. It's not about the sheer volume of calories, it's all about what your hormones are telling your cells to do with those calories. And the absolute boss in charge of those instructions? That's insulin. Get this, in the total absence of an insulin signal, your body cannot store fat, period. No way, no how. I mean, if you look at untreated type 1 diabetics, people who produce zero insulin, they could literally eat 10,000 calories a day and never gain an ounce of fat. They simply burn it right off or pass it through. This proves without a doubt that insulin is the true storage switch. High insulin, you're locked tight in fat-storing mode. Low insulin, boom, you're in fat-burning mode. Which brings us right to Chapter 2, Insulin and the Economy, and understanding the true costs of insulin resistance. Let's see how all this builds into the massive condition that plagues so much of modern society today. So I want you to think of insulin resistance like biological economic inflation. Years ago, your pancreas only had to spend one single insulin dollar to clear glucose from your blood. Easy. But over time, thanks to poor diets and high stress, your cells just stop responding. They become resistant. Now your poor pancreas is working massive overtime, pumping out 10 insulin dollars just to do the exact same job. The crazy part? Your blood tests might look perfectly fine for years, but underneath the surface, a hidden crisis is brewing, and you are basically swimming in an ocean of fat-storing insulin. Moving right along to Chapter 3, Cortisol and Visceral Fat, or the stress hormone's favorite target. Because insulin has a partner in crime, and this explains why chronic stress directly pads your midsection even if your diet is absolutely flawless. You see, there is a stark biological difference between these two types of fat. Subcutaneous fat, the kind you can pinch on your arms or your legs, is relatively benign. But visceral fat, that deep belly fat, that is dangerously different. It is densely packed with cortisol receptors. It literally acts like a high-gain antenna, just waiting to catch that stress hormone. So when your body senses stress, your liver starts manufacturing brand new glucose from your tissues to fight a battle that, isn't actually happening. This sugar dump spikes your insulin, and those high-gain antennas in your belly just suck up that energy, locking your belly fat in super tight.
All right, let's hit Chapter 4, the mitochondrial connection, finding the root cause in the liver. Because to find the absolute root of all this hormonal chaos, we have to look really closely at your cell's little engines, the mitochondria. Specifically, the ones inside your liver.
45%. Let that sink in. That massive number represents the percentage of the general population that currently has fatty liver disease. And I'm not just talking about the obese population here, I mean the general population. Decades ago, the only people walking around with fatty liver were heavy alcoholics. Today, almost half of us have it. And when your liver's packed with fat, your mitochondria become totally dysfunctional. It just breaks your metabolism at a fundamental cellular level.
So here is your nutritional cheat sheet for protecting those vital mitochondria. By controlling your carbs, specifically our big villain, fructose, and picking the right fats, you can literally stop your liver from pumping out bad saturated fats. We've got our heroes, omega-3s from marine sources, and odd-chain saturated fats from dairy. Fantastic for you. But be super careful with that surprising villain at the bottom, olive oil. Now, olive oil is incredibly healthy at room temperature, but actually scratch that. If you heat it past its smoke point in a skillet, it chemically flips its double bond into a highly toxic trans fat that just poisons your cellular engines. Crazy, right?
Let's turn to Chapter 5, Unlocking the Muscle Backdoor, Hacking Your Physiology After Meals. Now that we've unmasked the villains in the kitchen, let's explore some really heroic, physical hacks to completely bypass insulin and force your body to burn fuel.
Okay, we are always told to take a gentle, casual walk after eating carbs, right? And hey, that's a great habit, but chemically speaking, it's kind of like bringing a garden hose to a blazing firefight. If you swap that casual walk for just 2 or 3 sets of bodyweight exercises, I'm talking basic squats or push-ups right after eating, you act as a high-powered vacuum. You create this mechanical gate that pulls sugar directly out of the blood and right into the muscle, leaving your bloodstream perfectly stable.
So, the really crucial point here is exactly how this happens. It's called the AMPK switch. When you do those post-meal push-ups, your muscle rapidly burns through its local energy. This trips that AMPK sensor, which basically panics and shouts for more fuel. It literally commands doors on your muscle cells, they're called GLUT4 transporters, to swing wide open. This pulls the glucose straight out of your blood, completely independent of insulin. You are clearing out the sugar without ever triggering the fat storage hormone. It's like a secret metabolic backdoor.
And get this, you can supercharge this whole system with something incredibly simple. Just sipping high-quality mineral water alongside your meals ensures your body gets a good dose of dietary calcium. Inside your pancreas, a rapid influx of calcium is basically the electrical go signal that catapults insulin out of storage. Think of it exactly like a spark plug in your car's engine. It ensures a really crisp, highly efficient release of insulin. That way, your pancreas works way smarter, not harder.
Finally, Chapter 6, Hacks for Sleep and Stress, Calming the Nervous System. Because for our last chapter, we really need to focus on stopping the silent killers of fat loss, sleep disruption, and chronic stress. You simply cannot heal a metabolism that constantly feels like it's under attack.
Listen, if you frequently wake up at 3 a.m., your heart's racing, your mind is spinning, you aren't just having a bad sleep, you are actually having a hypoglycemic event. Your blood sugar dropped way too low, so your brain slammed the panic button and flooded your entire body with adrenaline and cortisol. To bypass this entirely, try taking a small teaspoon of raw honey and a tiny pinch of sea salt right before bed. This tiny, strategic little investment of carbs tops off your liver's fuel tank, which stops the brain from panicking. It keeps your cortisol nice and low and lets your fat-burning, growth hormone hit its peak all night long. Such a game changer.
So, bringing it all together and summarizing everything we've learned today. By replacing those chronic, stressful traps like endless, exhausting jogging and starvation fasting with abundant, safety-signaling fixes, you finally convince your body that the war is over. Swap the endless cardio for short, intense sprints. That boosts your growth hormone. When you finally break a fast, feast on protein, like a good 150 grams to signal safety. And don't forget vitamin G, a deliberate moment of gratitude. It spikes your bonding hormone, oxytocin, which chemically forces your stress hormone, cortisol, right off a cliff.
Well, we have definitely covered a lot of ground in this explainer today, from insulin inflation and stressed-out visceral fat, all the way to muscle vacuums and raw honey sleep hacks. Just remember, you are battling biology here, not discipline. It is all about working smarter and pulling the right hormonal levers. So, looking at the science we've just laid out, which biological signal are you going to fix today? Start using these tools to flip the switch and command your metabolism to heal. Thanks so much for learning with us, and I will see you in the next explainer.